bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for Bring 'em Out with your hosts, Joel Richardson and Alan Hill.
Hey everybody, we're here at the Sunnybrook Ballroom inside the Speakeasy for another episode of Bring 'em Out. I'm Alan Hill, here with SoulJoel himself, Joel Richardson, and we are flying solo today, folks.
We're flying solo, man, but shout out to Jesse Marchese. Really doing a great job.
Incredible.
We're averaging over 100 views, listeners on the audio platforms, and then on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So it's basically 200 an episode. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
If you haven't already, go to SoulJoel TV and follow us and subscribe, and then leave us a review on.
Yeah, that really helps. We love
really
that.
Helps. Yeah. Either Apple Music or however you listen to Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've had people come up to me at shows multiple times now and say they're really enjoying the podcast, and thank you very much for that. And
because you're at every show.
yeah, because I'm easy to find.
Yeah, you've actually been here when I haven't been here.
Yeah, that's right.
On multiple occasions.
That's right.
But one of the conversations that, and this is what it's all about. It's Bring 'em Out is Jesse's idea that whether it's audiences or the talent, I've been bringing people out for years.
Yeah.
And now you have the music perspective. You've been teaching music for over 25 years. I have the comedy background. I love both. You love both. But it's the yin and the yang.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't want to say Coke and Pepsi, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, we're not competing.
we're not
it's
competing.
a good thing. It's
yeah,
a
exactly.
Good thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, but speaking of competing, you told me kind of a backhanded compliment, not to me, to yourself. Do you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. You shared with me that your cousin, who you hadn't spoken to in 7 years,
Yeah.
reached out to you. Like, by the way, I caught your pod.
Yeah, man, it was crazy because I was I was talking to my other cousin, who's his brother, and he called the cousin I was talking to.
Just a triangle.
Yeah, so the triangle gets we got a three-way phone call now.
Yeah.
And I haven't talked to Wes, is the cousin that we're talking about.
Which is hilarious because you're not a phone guy.
I'm not much of a phone guy,
Yep.
and I hadn't talked to Wes in like 7 years. Maybe here 5-7 years, something like that. And first thing out of his mouth is, "Hey, Al, I really love the podcast. I've been checking it out." And I was like, "Damn, thank you, man. That's so cool."
Which then I internalized it as a self-deprecating comedian. Even though I'm a comedy producer, which I always say, I'm like,
still
that's
a
why
comedian.
Still a comedian. I'm like, that's a lot of pressure. Because if he all of a sudden doesn't like the podcast anymore, it might be another 7 years
Yeah, perfect.
before you hear from him again.
Yeah, we'll know. Because actually, it's funny because I just left him a message on the way up here.
Did you?
Yeah, because
Good luck.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out because either he's gonna be coming up with here
Yeah.
to a show with me because he
Yeah.
expressed some interest, or I won't see him for 5 to 7 years.
Right.
So hopefully, I'll be introducing you to him in the next month or two.
Because with you, it's you'll get back right away, or it'll be like the next day.
Hours, yeah,
Or like I'll go to sleep because I'm show mode. So
Yeah,
my
yeah.
phone is always 100%. Like you could call or text me, and I never have it on. I have to be looking at my phone to receive it.
Okay.
So the next day I'll wake up to whatever messages, emails. It never wakes me up, which is bad because like if there's an emergency in the middle of the night, good luck. Yeah, but yeah,
Luckily,
so
you only sleep 3 hours a night. So
right,
it's not
exactly. Yeah, I post, sleep, wake up, post.
Play spades.
Yeah, play spades. Excellent callback, my friend. By the way, our new segment stinks.
It sure does. It really does.
It really does.
I hate fake smells
Yeah,
too, man.
it's a great idea, but it stinks.
We're gonna heave it across the room
Yeah.
after we do the segment.
Why don't we get into
Let's
it now?
do the segment now. Yes. Okay. So you and I were talking. I've been to a lot of shows. It's been 10 years of going to comedy now, roughly. And
You've been supporting starving artists.
yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Everybody likes a charity that they like to support. Yours is comedy.
That's exactly
Well,
right.
that's why I should joke around that comedy night, Thursday nights are comedy night, and we always have a charity. But then, I give one week a month. I give it to Steve Rinaldi for 7 for 7.
Yeah.
7 comedians for $7. It's also a
It's
charity.
also a charity,
You're
yes.
supporting local artists.
100%.
But you've been doing that for a decade.
Well, I love it because, I mean, I sold merch as a musician. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And I know how much it means when somebody comes over and actually drops a, 10, 20 bucks on whatever you're selling.
Now, do you feel awkward if, like, do you, like, avoid eye contact or?
No, hell no.
If you're the one selling.
No, because the people that aren't going to buy aren't going to buy. You know what I mean? And that's okay. They came to the show. That's cool.
Right. They're still supported.
Already supported by coming out.
Right.
So I'm not one of these people that's like, if you don't buy my merch, you're a dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, not like that at all.
I agree because I always say this for years.
Mm-hmm.
White people, they let you know exactly how they feel. If they're not making eye contact and it's just boom and then out.
Secret codes which we may or may not divulge.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah, that's right.
They avoid eye contact and they just walk straight out.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yes,
But
absolutely.
if they're sticking around saying, how often do you do this? They're giving buying signals. If you're, because I'm in sales, I've been in sales my whole life. Mm-hmm. So they're like, when's the next one? Do you travel around? They always say, do you travel around with the same troupe?
Right. Right. Like your improv group or something.
Yeah, exactly. Is that how this works?
Right.
Whose
line is it anyway?
So I agree, man. But I still want to connect with the people, man. I like, because like you said, they've already supported. They're already here. This is why I do it.
Yeah.
Because I sit in the back of the room and I love watching the audience and the comics but I want to see the audiences enjoying that.
Yes.
Like enjoying the fruits of my labor.
Right.
Like your mom. I
Yes.
enjoy watching you laugh, Alan.
You're right, totally. And it's funny because she watches the crowd as much as she watches the comedian, too,
Right.
which is priceless.
So she understands.
She totally gets it, yeah.
Good old Faye.
Good old Faye. Love you, Mom.
Yeah. So 10 years ago, you're at a show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So 10 years ago, I see Kelsey Cook feature for Jim Norton at Magooby's. And I saw her twice over the course of maybe a year or two, both times with Norton. And I went up to her after the show because I said, first thing I said to her was, I'll see you back here when you're headlining. You know what I mean? Which she is a headliner now. And she's very good. She's also a master foosball player. I don't know if you knew that little tidbit. Her parents were world champions.
Okay.
Yeah. Fun little fact. But so I went up to her to see about her merch, and she had this hilarious bit at the time that this tied into. I won't try and do the bit. But it basically, there were male and female air fresheners. And I got these after the show. I just took them out of the package for the first time since 7 to 10 years ago, whenever it was, and they reek. But it makes me laugh every time I look at it. The world's worst air freshener. There's Kelsey. And then this is the guy version, baloney balls.
Oh, that's so funny. But that's what I'm smelling.
Yeah, that's what you're smelling. It smells like air, like somebody filled the room with air fresh or air. What are those air dryer sheets?
It's like brand new car wash smell.
Yeah. Yes.
Like I knew I should have only cracked it up a bit, like a crack.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave this one in the package.
Okay.
And this is the female version. Again, world's worst air freshener, Kelsey Cook on the back, and then it's Midnight Labia. So I've been carrying these around for 10 years, thinking one of these days I'm just going to chuck it on one of my buddy's rearview mirrors just to see how long it takes them to notice it, but I never did it.
And they won't understand what's going on.
Right. They'll just be like, what the hell? Why does this air freshener stink so bad?
Exactly.
I'm going to put the mic down for a second and move these across the room so we don't have to
Yeah.
All right, we're back. So that's item one. I'm going to do maybe a couple items every time we do one of these solo things. Item two is a T-shirt. A lot of the stuff is T-shirts. I'd say the vast majority is T-shirts. But this is from one of my favorite tours ever, and it happened right before the pandemic, and it was ended because of the pandemic, and hopefully it'll come back at some point. Creeps with Kids.
Oh, dude. I would
You know
love.
about that tour?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I actually I talked to Bennington about it when I was up there with Jimmy Schubert.
Okay.
But that's when I was still at Valley Forge Casino, and they only had a room 500 and I was in a room of 250.
Yeah. And these guys were killing. Yeah, they did
now-
like 1,500 at the Winnaker Center, I think it was.
Yeah, but now we have 1,100 here at the.
Yeah, I hope they get it back together at some point.
Oh, that'd be great.
But so we should tell them what the tour was. The tour was Rich Voss, Jim Florentine,
Bobby Kelly, and Ron Bennington, who's a radio legend and who is a beast on stage too. Who knew? I had no idea. And the show I saw just happened to have a surprise drop in from Mr. Shane Gillis. And anybody that knows Shane knows how cool of a surprise that was. Yeah.
So we got 5 killers in one show. It was unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. And hopefully they get it back together so you can book it here because the ballroom would be perfect for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that'd be great, man.
Yeah. What a show. And the last one, and this will take us to a little flashback to the Rofo days.
Okay.
This is one of my personal favorites. Is a guy named Greg Stone. A lot of you will know Greg. He's been here many times.
By the way, recently just self-funded his new special.
Oh,
for $10,000.
Did he get the whole thing?
10,001.
Go, Greg. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm so happy for the guy. As anybody that knows him knows he's one of the nicest people in this business. He's also one of the funniest people in this business.
Yeah.
You know, he's just a great dude and hilarious. And so you had podcast week in Rofo in, I don't remember, was it 2021?
21. Yeah. It was the last week of the festival.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was August 2021. And we were basically 2 months away from the end of the chapter in Royersford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was him, Anthony DeVito, and then his the Night Cream partner.
Yes. Whose name I always forget. That's terrible, but he's
Dan. It's Dan.
Dan, that's right.
Yeah.
And Dan's like he does the beats for Night Cream.
Dan Horan.
Dan Horan, that's it. And who's a very funny comedian and lays these great beats for Greg to do his crazy comedy songs over top of. But I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you do. That I planned my entire. I took like 2 vacations in the last 10 years I was teaching.
I was honored.
And one of them I went to out in the middle of nowhere in the Poconos and just rented a cabin by myself and played guitar for a week. Right.
Yeah.
And the other one, I came to Rofo for podcast week.
Oh wow.
And I saw it was Legion of Skanks. Tuesdays was Stories. Greg with at the time he had Friday Night Greg, I think was the podcast at the time, and then you had James Mattern and Shuley for the 4th day because they replaced somebody else.
Okay.
And it was one of my favorite weeks ever. I loved it. I came up by myself every day from Lancaster in an Uber and enjoyed the hell out of it. Now. The Tuesdays of Stories and the Legion of Skanks were massive. There was a full dome, the whole thing. The other two didn't have that big of a crowd, but holy crap, they gave it like we were seeing them at the Spectrum in 1988. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they did their podcast, which was hilarious, and then they came out and debuted Night Cream. And anybody that knows Night Cream loves Night Cream. I can't hold on.
Well, no, and it was awesome, man, because it was the first time that they did it on the road. And that's what I love about comics is it's like the lab. We're the lab.
Yes.
Away from the city.
That's one of the really neat things about this place for real hardcore comedy fans, man. We get to see the sometimes the
infancy stage.
Yes, exactly. You get to see the testing. You're the testing ground sometimes. Yeah. Like back when Louis C.K. was doing those drop-ins on the Joe List things. I'll never forget the time I saw him. He comes out with cards and says basically something to the effect of, I'm working on stuff, and bear with me or whatever, in his own way. And I remember he started a joke about a dog. He got a minute or two into it, paused, said, there's nothing here, crumpled up the note, threw it on the ground, and pulled out the next note and started another joke. 9 months later, I saw him do that hour perfected, and it's that A to Z thing is so cool to see. Yeah, it's so cool to see, and I know you've seen that a lot over the years.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, because I know when, like I remember the Yannis show in Jersey, he had just put a special out. It had just come out, so he was doing that act for the last time.
Yeah.
And you're walking up right when you know that act's ending.
Yeah.
Now, he sent you back down because he wanted to tell Joel stories for 10 minutes.
Well, so, and that's what the funny thing is that a lot of the people in New Jersey, and there was a ton of loyal fans that even I'm not even there anymore. A lot of times at the Robin's Nest, and there's a group of people. They always sell it out, and they've been loyal, like coming out. Doesn't matter, like all these venues, and as long as they keep selling out, I'm going to keep doing them. As long as I don't lose money. I shouldn't say sell out.
Right.
As long as they're not losing money, I'm going to still do them. But they had never been to a show where comics roast me like that. Because they kind of only roast me when they're at my home.
Yeah.
When they're at another place, they're roasting that venue, or like, because the Robin's Nest, it's the second floor of a restaurant that started as a bakery.
Oh, okay.
And they use the robin as a bird, but the robin is a woman that started the whole thing. And you know, she went to culinary school in France, and she's a really good cook, and she makes her own like soups and everything. But that's the place when I was moving back from New York, and I was about to move in with my sister, my brother-in-law, who's now the chef here.
Yeah.
I crashed on her couch for my sister's couch for 7 months until my place in South Jersey was open. But I waited tables at the Robin's Nest.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I just left my old business partner. I started SoulJoel Productions back. We had started this new company together, but I left and went back to SoulJoel Productions. And Robin's Nest was like, it was a place that I have all these fans, and they were always supporting me.
Yeah.
So
that's
for
so cool.
them to see all this stuff, like roasting me, it was, dude, hilarious.
Oh, that's priceless, man. And
Yeah.
you know, any regulars at Sunnybrook know that's one of the highlights of every show, man.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it. We all love that, man.
They're like, here we go.
Oh God, when Voss rolls in, I mean, I can't. When's he booked? He's booked for sometime in the summer, right?
June, I believe, Friday, June 16th.
June 16th in the Dome.
Yeah.
Rich Voss, come out. You'll see what we're talking about. Rich kills
But also
every time.
Toure, and we posted the
Oh,
clip
my God,
the next day. He
Toure.
goes, there's this guy, because he calls it soul comedy. We call it SoulJoel's.
Yep.
And SoulJoel Productions. And he goes, yeah, this guy's, you know, and he goes, but he's a good guy, puts up good shows. He goes, I don't want to say too much because the check hasn't cleared yet. Hilarious clip. Yeah.
Oh, Toure's great, man.
Yeah.
He is great. Oh.
So what's the other, the deep cuts?
Oh, yeah. So, we want to try another thing. I want to throw out some recommendations, and this is something I've seen on other podcasts. We're not, reinventing the wheel here or anything, but I want to go deep with it. Like, I'm not going to, hopefully I won't give you something you've heard of,
Right.
So I want to do it with movies and with songs.
Okay.
And I'll give you like maybe one song a week and a movie a week or something like that,
Okay.
And so first one is a movie called Safe Men. This is one of my favorite ones to bring up, and this is not scientific at all, but the way I'm determining that they are a deep cut is that when I bring it up to people, more often than not, they don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, boy.
That's my scientific poll.
Yeah.
So check this out. This movie's from 1998. None of these guys were big stars yet. It has Sam Rockwell, Steve Zahn, Paul Giamatti, Peter Dinklage, Game of Thrones. Okay?
Yeah. Also was in Elf.
Oh, right. Yes.
He was the boss.
I forgot he was an elf.
The publisher boss.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Mark Ruffalo is in this movie. He's like the seventh guy on the call sheet. He's not even like one of the stars of the movie. You know what I mean? Harvey Fierstein. I don't know if you know who Harvey Fierstein is, but if you do, that guy is a trip. He's like a Broadway legend.
Wait, so explain this to me. What you're doing here?
Okay, so this is the cast of the movie Safe Men.
Okay.
Movie came out in 1998.
Yeah.
All right. So I think Paul Giamatti had just been in Private Parts.
Okay.
So he was just breaking.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And all these guys had been in stuff, but none of them were superstars yet. All of them became big.
I mean, he was in Billions.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
so many other things.
Giamatti
He actually,
became
when
a
I was in
megastar.
pharmaceutical sales, and we did a product launch for Shearing Plow.
Yeah.
Joint launch, actually. It was a product called Vytorin. It was like lowers cholesterol.
Okay.
But so Merck and Shearing Plow did a joint launch in Chicago.
Okay.
And he was the one that hosted it.
Get out.
Yeah, they paid him
that's
to
cool.
host the whole thing. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
really cool.
Most people didn't care, but I was like, "This is pretty cool." I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
Paul Giamatti's here.
Yeah, pig vomit.
Yeah, yeah.
He's forever pig vomit to me from the Howard Stern movie.
Because all it is it's 3 days of like rah rah rah, try to get people pumped up.
Totally, yes. Oh, I've been I went to guitar shop versions of those sales pitch things.
So this is 2005, so it's not too far past. what you're
Yeah,
talking
this
about.
is, and he had fully become a movie star by then, but he wasn't at this point. You
Right.
know what I mean? And he's great in this movie. He's the highlight of the movie, and there's a lot of highlights. So the only other name of note is Michael Lerner. There's two actually. Michael Lerner, he's one of those guys you'd know if you saw him. He tends to play gangsters, or he's one of those wonderful character actors that's been in 7,000 movies. You know what I mean? And the other one that's really a deep one is if anybody has seen the movie Gummo. Jesse, you know this movie? You've heard of it? Okay. Gummo is I'm not recommending Gummo. Gummo's a strange movie. It's really out there. But there's a kid from that movie who's a little different, and anybody that's ever seen Gummo will remember this kid, and that kid is also in Safe Man. It's one of the few things I think he ever did, but he's priceless. So anyway, here's the other thing about this movie. The director, whose name is John Hamburg, this guy went on to write the screenplays for Meet the Parents and Zoolander. Okay. And then eventually he directed I Love You Man, which is one of my favorite comedies of the last, 10, 15 years, whenever that was. It was the one with Paul Rudd and that other guy whose name I never remember from How I Met Your Parents or whatever. Jason Segel. But and Rush, the band Rush, figures prominently in the movie, and it's awesome. So anyway, that guy he went on to do some of my favorite comedies post Safe Men, you know what I mean? So it's just one of those movies. It's hilarious, it's super quirky, and it launched helped launch a lot of people along the way. I get a kick out of that kind of thing.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because I'm one of those people that'll sit there watching a movie. If the movie's 2 hours long, it'll take me 3 to 4 hours to watch it, because every time somebody comes on the screen, I'm pausing it and going, where do I know that guy from? I know him from this, that, and this, and then I'm looking up IMDb and trying to trace the, you know what I mean?
Well, so that's the point of this segment is you're showing a movie that like was pivotal in launching,
and also just a killer movie that people don't know enough.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like I want it to be
deep
like
track.
Like
deep cut.
This movie I bring up every time somebody asks about favorite comedies or something like that, which I actually didn't do when we talked about it on the podcast, and it pissed me off later because I should have.
How do you sleep at night?
I barely did that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just things like that, like the next couple movies, I'm not going to say them, but the next couple movies I'll be bringing up are like ones from 1950.
Right.
Another one's just another deep track that when I bring it up, people don't know. So that kind of thing, and hopefully there'll be some cool element of like some actor now, or
two
things
great
like
segments.
That. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So then the song that I want to bring up. Okay. So this one I could give you thousands of these. Just go, because this is music has been my life. So I want to give you one that everybody will know the band, but you probably won't know the song. It's the band Deep Purple. All right.
Okay.
Now, if everybody knows "Smoke on the Water," right?
Okay. Yep.
Dun, 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 right. Everybody knows that song. In fact, they did the thing like sometime 10, 15 years ago. They had everybody in some park in California. They had 100,000 people play that riff at the same time in the park together.
Get out of here.
That's how iconic that riff is. Okay. I've taught it to almost every student that ever walked into my room over 25 years, right?
Just a fun thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's well known, it's fun to play, blah blah blah. Well, the song I'm going to recommend is called "You Fool No One" from the album Burn, 1974. They had just switched. Their lead singer and bass player had left the band, and they brought in two new guys who ended up being Glenn Hughes and David Coverdale. Now, David Coverdale, you won't know that name, but you probably remember the band Whitesnake. Okay, Here I Go Again on My Own. All right, that's David Coverdale.
Here I go again on my own.
Boom, boom. You can tell he was in choir, ladies and gentlemen. And
going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone.
Yeah. Can you get that next little chunk?
Wait. Like a drifter, I was born to walk. No.
And it's like, now I've made up my mind.
Yeah.
Ain't wasting no more time. Now we need Tawny Katine.
Here I go again.
Boom! Boom! My man knows his rock and roll.
Yeah.
I love it.
What was also like was I think old school? It was like "You're My Boy Blue." Like I think they at some point play that song.
You're probably right. I remember Master of Puppets from that when they were picking up everybody in the van to get them ready for the incarnation into the what do they call that, hazing week or whatever. So neat little thing about David Coverdale just coming into that band. A lot of people know the story about Journey, where they got the guy from the Philippines to replace one of the greatest singers in the history of rock and roll, Steve Perry. Okay. They found this guy because he had a video doing karaoke in the Philippines, and he's now been the lead singer of one of the biggest rock and roll.
Life.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. So that was that. This was the 1970s version of that. There was no YouTube, but they heard about this cat from Wales who was singing his ass off in the clubs.
Right.
He was like 20 years old, and they brought him in to replace, and this band was at the height of heights. They had massive hits, Smoke on the Water, Highway Star, all these great songs, My Woman from Tokyo, all these things. They were 4 albums in or something, and then the biggest chunks of the band walked, and here comes Coverdale and another guy named Glenn who used to play bass and share lead vocals, and they just kill it on this song, You Fool No One.
I don't know why, but Asians love karaoke.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, my first meeting in Royersford, the mayor she was Korean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Korean American, obviously, but my first meeting, I went to the Royersford Business Association, and she was like, I know you're a comedy guy, but are you going to do karaoke? I go, is this a trick? I'm like, are you joking? I go, I feel like I'm being set up right here. But shout out to Mayor Jenna, she's great.
That's
but it was
so
just
awesome.
so funny.
That's so awesome,
I'm like,
man.
But they love it. They love
Dude, and the Philippines is legendary for this stuff. Like Bobby Lee, who knows if he'll ever see the light of day? You know how that goes when you develop a TV show. But he and his co-host on his podcast, Kalila, went to the Philippines to try and get a talent show, a Philippines exclusive talent show produced and released in America.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right. Why not, baby? Why not? So this song is just a monster. If you like old school rock and roll, it's got killer vocals. It's got amazing guitar solo. Richie Blackmore's the guitar player. He's unbelievable. And check it out if you like rock and roll, man.
Do you have song association?
Oh, for sure.
So you hear a song, it brings you back to a time, a memory, or like a time frame.
Yes.
Yeah. So my wrestling coach. So I wrestled in high school, wrestled in college.
Yeah.
And so I went to high school fall '94. I graduated in '98. Mm-hmm. So my wrestling coach graduated late '80s.
Okay.
I think he was '89. So he was a huge grunge guy.
Oh, sure.
So we're talking Metallica, Cheap Trick, like Pearl Jam, all these bands. So like I just hear that Nirvana, Soundgarden. I hear all those albums, and it just brings me back
to that time and place.
Wrestling, and which is crazy because wrestling is hard enough as it is. We don't need these depressing tracks.
Seriously, man. Seriously. Like just flannel wearing like
Right. Right.
Yeah, man. No,
not too many happy songs.
Dude, that was not an era for happy music. They were because it's so funny because
good times though. I mean, great. I look back and now it's like, it's great.
That's so awesome. And I love that sense memory thing you're talking about. You know what I mean? But it
always happens to me.
It's fascinating. And and every era is a response to the previous one.
Right.
So those cats that were the Pearl Jams and Soundgardens who were just wearing whatever they put on that day to wear on stage. You know what I mean? They weren't putting on. That was a direct response to the heavy metal cats from the 80s that were going out in spandex and destroying the ozone layer with hairspray and putting on more makeup than any of my female relatives have ever worn at one time. Yeah. And it was a glorious, fun little era. It was weird, but it was fun, man. It was a trip.
Well, and that's now Bring 'Em Out. Mm-hmm. People comment now, whether it's on my social media or they send me a private message. they can't hear that song and not think about our shows.
I love
either
that.
either this podcast or a show itself.
Right,
you know?
right, totally, yeah, because
Yeah.
it hits you right when you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that intro, man.
Yeah.
Did we ever talk about like how because I'm going to take a chance here, and because I have had bad research before.
No.
But-
How it became about?
Yes.
So I talked when I knew this was all going to happen, or at least in my mind, it was going to happen. So I produced my first show, the one that my sister fell down the stairs.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
the open bar. I mean, I packed the bar. It was 100 people, whatever. But I had them bring me up to bring them out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "That's my song," and it just
Right
became,
from then.
Right
That's
from then,
incredible, dude.
Dude,
Foresight,
16 years
man.
ago, and I'm like,
That's
dude, that's gonna be my song. Bring them out, because I want you to bring me out, and that's how it started. And then whenever I opened up SoulJoel's, I was like, dude, we got to do this, but I'm like, we're gonna mix it into Soul Man, because I really honed into being SoulJoel.
Yeah, dude.
I was then too, but it's like,
But it's now it's like firm and
Yeah.
it's taken root.
and then then that was Royersford's version. Mm-hmm. But then with Sunnybrook, we added the Sinatra.
Which I love that addition to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't your mom part of the adding the
My mom was
Sinatra?
part of that because every time she would hear Sinatra, she was like, "This is our sign, my way." And I'm like, "Mama, you're listening to Sinatra on Sirius XM. You're gonna hear this song from time to time. It's not like you're not listening to a rock station and they're like, oh, I don't know how Sinatra's my way came on. No, you're listening to Sinatra on Sirius XM.
Sinatra station.
So it's gonna.
Oh, it's great.
It's in the queue.
Oh, that's great. That's
It's on. It's in heavy rotation.
It's the #1 song from the guy whose channel it is.
Yeah.
It's gonna appear.
But then that leads us into this past week. So Wednesday and Thursday, I was at Rivers Casino, 800 people.
Oh, dude, talk about
And I
this.
did exactly what I do here. I checked them all in 90 minutes and then went on. Yeah, and thank goodness, like, and people, the director of the casino was like, "Are you staffed up?" I go, "Let them in." I go, "We got it, got them, brought them all in," and it was, dude. But the first night, they almost ran me over.
Wow.
30 people at 6:59. They were like, "It's clocking out, tour. We got to get in there." And I was like, "She ain't going on until I introduce her."
Mm-hmm.
And security was like, "Up against the wall, get your tickets out. No one's getting past." They just thought, like, it was almost like Walmart on Black Friday.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, the TV. I see the TV, and the guy, dude, slurring his words, goes, "We're on the list. We're on the list." I go, "Okay, cool, but I'm gonna check you off the list in order to get in."
We're gonna confirm that and let
But-
you and have your great evening. You just gave me
Yeah.
a flashback, by the way, man.
Really?
Are you old enough, Jesse, to remember when Cabbage Patch Kids were a big craze?
Oh yeah, and Garbage Pail Kids.
Dude, well, that was a response to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Cabbage Patch Kids.
The
much
Weird Al
like-
Yankovic.
Much like grunge was a response
Yeah.
to metal.
Yeah.
Dude, I had to be in line because my sister desperately wanted a Cabbage Patch Kid.
Oh boy.
This is like 1983.
By the way, I have something
like
in
that,
common
right?
with your sister.
What's that? You desperately wanted a Cabbage
I wish I was kidding,
This goes right along with your first concert, brother.
dude. But it was. Am I trying to tell the world something? But I didn't, dude. It was at the height of the. It was definitely the year you're talking about, and I didn't just want one. I wanted a chocolate one. The kid wanted a black Cabbage Patch Kid, dude. I might as well have asked my parents for a unicorn,
Oh, my
a
God.
needle in a haystack.
Oh, you're already booking chocolate sundaes as a
Oh
kid.
my goodness, dude! They couldn't even find it.
Oh, God.
They did. They found it, but like,
it was,
dude,
I'm sure it was.
this is prior to the internet.
Oh, dude.
So go ahead.
The old school version of how you did that.
Bring them out, come out,
Oh, that's awesome. dude.
whatever.
Oh, my God. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So,
Every time we have Sunday dinner, they're like, "You're in a safe space. This is okay. You can tell us. We already know. It's not if, it's when."
and if it's Sunday, you're wearing your pink shirt.
Excellent callback.
Hi, man.
But enough about me. Tell me about your sister, Katie.
So she wasn't part of this because it was her request. So I went with my mom to, I think it was Watt and Shand at the Park City Mall in Lancaster. Okay. And you did what you did in old school days. It was the same way I got Pink Floyd tickets, the same way I got all my concert tickets early on. You showed up early and you stood in line.
Yeah.
And you took it like a man.
So funny.
And I'm telling you, dude, they opened those doors at whatever time that store opened, and you saw 150 adults or however many were there. It seemed like a crap ton in my 8-year-old brain. And they're tackling people. They're shoving people. My mom took one look and says, all bets are off, Alan. Do what you got to do. And she sent me, and I went full football mode, and I came out of there with one of those Cabbage Patch Kids, man. It might have been a little ugly. Thank goodness nobody had cell phones back then. But I got the job done.
Wow.
I reported proudly back to my mother with Cabbage Patch in tow.
I like how you raised one hand in tow. Like you just came out of the football huddle.
Yeah.
The pile. Yeah. And you're like, we got the ball.
That's it.
We got the ball, boys.
That's it, man. Got it, baby. Got it.
Dude, that's wild.
Man, that funny, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cabbage Patch days. And also one time I stood in line for Pink Floyd tickets, right?
Okay.
Back then, you had to go to a mall or a Ticketmaster outlet, which would be at some kind of store. And in our town, it was at the Boscov's. All right. And I want to see Pink Floyd. And this is the early 90s now. Okay. And we got there. My buddy and I got there at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
The place opened at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
All right. So we're standing out there. Now, we were the 7th people in line. We weren't even close to first getting there at that hour. Right.
Oh,
which is
okay.
crazy to think about. Right. So we stood in line. We heard all these great stories from all the old heads telling us how they saw Floyd back in the 70s. I saw him on the Animals tour. I saw him when they did Dark Side Live. And I'm thinking all these old cats have all these cool stories.
Yeah.
That I know I'd be that guy, not too far away. But but yeah, man, no, it was a blast. And my buddy got sick as a dog. Sent him home at like 5 in the morning, and I gutted it out and came away with 13th row for Pink Floyd at Veterans Stadium for $60. Imagine that. You can't even get into the nosebleeds of the crappiest concert that's coming to town this year for $60.
No way. Not happening.
But guess what you can do? Get a VIP seat at SoulJoel's anytime for $30 on a Friday, Saturday night.
Boom, baby. VIP style.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick, I want to. So then Saturday night we're in DJ Bob. Shout out to DJ Bob's hometown. Oh, so 1,600 people,
dude.
So biggest
this.
crowd. I'd had a few that are around that size, but that was definitely the biggest. So 2 stories. The balcony and the mezzanine section.
Yeah, I saw a picture. It looked amazing.
But Bob, because it was his alma mater, and he was telling everybody, class of 91.
Right.
Then his sister was there, class of 94.
Okay.
And but dude, he had this playlist, and he had people dancing to their seats, dancing in there. So he warmed up. I mean, the crowd was red hot, as they always are. Then he plays my intro song. They were very confused. They were like, we were just listening to Bruno Mars.
Here's Frank.
Yep, Frank Sinatra. Did we just put this show on pause? Then it was like, bring them out, bring them out. The crowd goes nuts because they understand something's happening now.
Yeah.
And it just was electric.
Ah, that's so cool, man.
So
cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and Bob, having his own panic attack on his Apple Watch, but kept it cool.
Bob,
it was just amazing.
I love that he was killing it at his alma mater. That's so cool, man. I didn't even realize. I knew that show was coming up, but I didn't realize there was the Bob connection with the alma mater. I didn't know that.
So that's
awesome.
what I want to talk about. So then Lauren Ariel took a picture of you laughing like this.
The photo ninja.
Yeah, the photo ninja. Like, dude, but and actually, if you see it, you're over the shoulder.
Yeah, he's right over my shoulder. Yep.
Yeah. You're taking a sip, laughing at Alan laughing. This was
Carmen
Lynch. Yeah, so it was great.
I look like a bear getting his balls tickled.
Yeah. Okay. I hadn't previously considered that.
Now you will not be able to not consider it.
All right, Papa Bear. So if we can regroup. So I shared it and I said, this is the essence. This captures the essence of what a SoulJoel show's about. Laughing like this.
Yeah.
But Lauren happened to capture that moment. And you said, I sent it to you before. I mean, we had already posted it, but then I sent it to you because you were on your way home.
Yeah.
And you're like, I've been to a lot of shows, but this might be my favorite photo.
Yeah.
The best photo of me at a show.
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean,
And I shared that with Lauren, and Lauren was like crazy. So I shared it on my Facebook and on both Facebooks. But then on the original post, someone commented that they know you.
Oh, yeah.
And then someone else commented that they met you at Millersville at Phantom Power. And it had to have been, it had to have been at Aunt Mary Pat's show.
It was. Yep, absolutely.
But I was like, how small of a world is that?
Isn't that a trip, man?
Because then it happened again. We just announced that we're doing a paint and sip night. And
great.
Ronan comes in. It was like, you have to hire this guy. I call this guy. My mom went in Ardmore to a paint and sip, and this guy named Brandon memorized every woman's name. And like, I'm good, but I'm not that good. Like, it takes me, I don't want to say like a marketing rule of 7, but it takes me like 5 or 6 shows where I see, I'm like, okay, it's Katie, it's Alan, it's Faye.
I marvel at that, and if this guy's better, that's amazing.
Well, and it's crazy because I mean, there was like a room of 50 people, whatever it was, and so he came in here, ball of energy, and Ronan's just going, he's just trying to keep up with him and me, and we're just talking, and then come to find and realize that he went to high school with you.
Yeah, how about that, man?
So this isn't even about me at this point. This is 2 degrees of separation of Alan.
Yeah, you're just a conduit for my life.
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. and
Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
Yeah. I mean,
No, Brandon, I went to high school, Manham Township High School with Brandon in
no big
in
deal.
Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's unbelievable.
But then he also taught at the place that you taught.
Yeah, it's crazy because Brandon went off to become an actor when he was younger.
Rock Lidditz.
And yes, and then years later I find out he's back in town.
Yeah.
And he's doing this paint and sip thing.
Yeah.
And he's doing it out of the place I teach, Rock Lidditz.
Yeah.
And crazily enough, he was there for maybe 6 months before I had to stop teaching because of my back stuff. And I never ran into him. This place is huge.
Right.
I mean, it's insane. Like there are like the Foo Fighters are rehearsing in a building right beside where you are. You know what I mean?
Because that's where people would get away, major artists, and they would go there to practice upcoming tours.
Yes, because Tate Towers and Clare Brothers are based there. Tate Towers as one of the biggest stage companies in the world. They're the ones, if you go see Iron Maiden, they're the ones that made Eddie, if anybody knows that reference. If not, they're the ones that make the giant stage props you see when people are on stage. Like when Rihanna did that halftime show.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did that one, but that's the kind of stuff they do.
Okay.
Clare Brothers is one of the biggest sound companies in the world. So they do sounds for everybody. They've done Super Bowls, they've done Olympics, they've done the biggest tours in the world.
And what are they, like Airbnb, or like they have hotels they stay in?
There's a hotel right on the premises.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you don't know who you're going to run into walking around there. There's 2 different rehearsal spaces in the complex. One is a little smaller, and it's right in my building, like literally 100 feet from my teaching studio.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the one where the Foo Fighters and the Giant Acts is like across the parking lot, and nobody gets in that place.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But it's a really neat place, and Brandon, the guy who you just brought in to do paint and sip, is part of that place too. And then you find out about him because he's doing the same thing in Ardmore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what a crazy tie-in. You know? It's
exactly.
Just,
and I essentially hired him because of Ronan and Ronan's mom, and that's how any business works, but especially mine. It's a recommendation from someone that I trust.
Yes.
And they're like, all right, well, I want to do the event anyway. I might as well go with a recommendation instead of, literally thumbing through a website or trying to see who has good Google reviews or whatever. You could just and once you're in the same room, you can read someone. I know you probably can too. The energy. It's not about the words. It's about what they're how they're saying it, what they're saying. Eye contact, like you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Yeah. No. Like, well, my
speaking your love language.
Yeah, 100%, dude. 100%. Well, my buddy Chris, the one.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should tell that story about the rest of the chair.
Oh.
But I'll say what I'm going to say, and we can decide about that. So, Chris. Sturmer, my buddy Chris, who will be coming up for what's the last Friday in April?
Ronan.
Yeah. He and I just
Not to be confused with Ronan.
Yeah, no.
By the way, Ronan brought that up. And I go, and he goes, I'm sure we both get our name wrong. I'm like, yeah, he's got a joke about that.
Oh, man. Yeah, you probably won't have him open up because of the name confusion.
Yeah, exactly. Hilarious.
But yeah, so this is my friend Chris, who started as a student when he was a teenager. And this is, you said about looking in the eye, right?
Yep.
So this is one of my favorite stories. I love this kid. And he's, well, man now. He's now in his early 20s. But so when he was a 15-year-old bass student of mine, we finished a lesson one time, and we were standing in the lobby of where I taught. And there's a couple of the guys that work there at the counter. There's me, Chris, and Chris's dad, Paul. And we're all standing around just bullshitting. And as we're bullshitting, a young kid, maybe somewhere between maybe 12 and 14, he walks into the store, walks with his face in his phone, okay, walks right past everybody, never acknowledges, never looks up from whatever he's looking at on his phone, which, of course, brings on the old man discussion of kids these days, and they don't look in the eye and shake your hand and, blah, 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 right?
Right.
So we're sitting around bitching about that lightheartedly for 5 minutes. Then we move on to whatever else we talked about, and then 15 minutes later, they're leaving, right? Now, Chris was just standing there the whole time just digesting all of this, okay? And I said, Paul, Chris, great to see you. I'll see you next week. Chris walks right over to me, looks me square in the eye, and says, I'll see you next week, Alan. And he's done that every time I've seen him since.
He picked it up.
Mm-hmm. He picked it up, man.
He understood.
He got it.
Yeah,
man. If everybody got it like Chris, this world would be a very nice
Much
place.
better place. Be coachable.
Yes.
Likable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. And
Yeah.
he does that to me now.
Does he?
Like when I talk to him, it's eye contact. He's like, good, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
He's a solid dude.
Yeah.
He's a solid dude.
Welcome here anytime.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Chris.
Yeah. And then the other crazy thing. So we're at the open mic, and female performed for the first time, and a really good set. And I'm outside, and I'm just walking back and forth between there and the line dancing. Sean Banks grabs me, and
Sean's great.
he just headlined last Thursday, and he goes, "Hey, this is Nicole. You guys should talk." And we started talking, and so it turns out the guy from Edge Signs that does all the signs for SoulJoel's, he did a brand new sign here at Sunnybrook, all the backdrops. He did my car.
Nice.
Does amazing work.
Yeah, he
man.
does great work. Absolutely.
Yeah. So and his wife Kim has Salon Nova right down the street from Sunnybrook. They're friends with this girl. They sent her down here. Was like, you got to check out the open mic. Turns out she's also a psychic medium.
I saw this. I was very curious about this. It's cool.
So I showed her this room. It was her and her sister, and I was like, because I thought it would be like a individual, like thing.
Yeah.
Then I come to find out she used to do shows where she's talking to the audience at the Valley Forge Casino.
Get out of town.
She was at the Valley Forge Casino the same time I was, knew the old owners as I did, and then got dicked over by the new owners.
Oh, okay.
As I did. But I did shows on Friday. Her shows were on Tuesday, so we never crossed paths.
I see.
But we started talking, and before you know it, we got shows on sale the Friday, last Friday, and we've already sold a bunch of tickets, and now we're gonna do that. We have bingo every Wednesday, and then the other Wednesday of the month will be Peyton Sip, and the other one is it's called A Night with Angels.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I find that really fascinating. Man.
Yeah.
I can't wait to I got to tell my sister about this because she absolutely loves that kind of thing.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like there's people that come to the swing dancing and they're only swing dancers.
Yeah.
There's people that salsa bachata. They only do that. Then there's people that line dance and they only line dance, but they wouldn't step foot in my comedy show.
Right.
Now a couple of them have, and they come out to support other shows. We, Frank Sinatra events and stuff like that. But we're doing so many different events. We're appealing to someone.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if you don't like it. Like people are starting to protest drag events, and at different states are making it illegal. And it's like, dude, here's the thing. Forget politics. I'm a businessman.
Right.
And for me, it's an entertainment, and it adds so much entertainment. And this month, it's a Golden Girls theme, which is hilarious, dude. Dude, the sales have never been better.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
And for me, I would say there's like 25% of the people that have been to other events, but it brings 75% brand new people. And from a time where we wouldn't normally be open. And there's people that have been protesting. There was a guy had fists of fury before, in the morning, like he was like banging on the doors. And
are you kidding me?
The cleaning crew was here, and they're like, I can't believe this guy Joel has drag events here. I'm like, dog, you're 3 months late. Like, it's not even the first event. Yeah, like you're mad and late.
Yeah.
You're mad and late.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude,
Yeah.
get to the party quicker, buddy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
But
pathetic.
I mean, he went all the way to the township and
Give
stuff
me
like
a
that, and it's like,
break.
dude, he's like, yeah, we don't allow any, because they're worried that we're having minors here,
Right,
Which
that's
we're not.
the-
It's an adult brunch with $50 tickets. It includes mimosas and Bloody Marys,
Right.
And so you have to be of age
It's
to come to the
clearly
show.
an adult event, yeah.
Because there's other events where you're going to a library and you're having drag queens read to kids. Now, however you feel about that's however you feel, but that is not this event.
That's not this, right.
Yeah, so pick and choose your battles.
Right.
Yeah, I have a wide range of events, and I'm not just doing, and then that's what's so dynamic about what I'm doing, because I used to just do comedy events, and then I had a couple of music events, and then during the pandemic we had bands open and close shows for comics. I used to do Latin nights and stuff like that, dances in the Valley Forge Casino, and then started the drag brunch and stuff like that. So it's all been training ground.
Right.
But now it's, dude, this is like Disney World. Yeah. It's my playground.
Yes.
And I'm constantly, I mean, people have compared me to Barnum and Bailey,
100%.
which I love it.
And check out the pictures from a couple Halloween. That was Halloween, I assume,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
There was a great picture when you actually dressed up like Barnum or Bailey, whichever one you were. PT. It's
Yep.
got to be PT.
Pick one, yeah.
Bailey's the money guy.
Yeah. Oh. Buddy, I'm not in it for the money.
Yeah.
I think we know that. They're like, are you joking? I'm like, nah, I live in my sister's basement,
Yeah,
dog.
yeah, you'd still be a
That
pharmacist.
ain't a joke.
You'd have worked your way to the top of the pharmaceutical ladder if you
Yeah.
were just in it for the money.
Yeah, there was a fork in the road. Yeah, I went left and ate it.
Yeah, totally. No, I
Yeah.
left real estate when I was making a lot of money and decided to become a starving artist. So I
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah. Nah, but it's cool, man. I love it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That is so cool, man. So
Lots
cool.
of stuff happening here at SoulJoel's, man.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Always. I'm excited, man. I mean, there's always something. Like I'm glad I looked. This will be dated when it comes out, but I'm so excited to see Florentine tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
yeah.
seen him since that Creeps with Kids show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good. He's I tried to get him for a few weekends, and then last time I went on vacation, he was actually here, so I didn't get to see him. So I haven't seen him in like probably over a year,
Nice.
maybe even a year and a half. But a couple other weekends he wasn't available. So then this came up. It's going to be the biggest fundraiser.
I heard you say that on the live stream
Yeah,
earlier today.
yeah.
That's killer, dude. That's
yeah, 'cause
awesome.
we have two fundraisers: Boyertown girls softball and the Wheels of Justice, which is basically county detectives. They all raise money and they take a motorcycle ride to Washington.
Oh, get out. See, that could have gone a lot of different ways. I was curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. That's super cool, man. I love that you do those Thursday charity shows, man. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Last week's was killer, dude, with
Yeah.
Chris Kosher
Chris Kosher and
Banks.
Sean Banks,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for SoulJoel, Alan Hill, Jesse Marchese, it's another episode of Bring 'Em Out. Follow us, like us, subscribe, leave us a review.